Hello, how y'all doing there? All right, in 2025, I kind of got away from making YouTube videos for a while. I kind of took a break, but here we are in the Christmas season, and I'm ready to kind of get back on track and start making more. Uh, so I started thinking, what's the big difference between now and a year ago? And without a doubt, the big difference is now the use of AI. I've gotten to where I use ChatGPT pretty much every day. So what I would like to do is talk to you about 5 ways I've used uh, artificial intelligence in the last year. Of course, I'll be 72 years old in March, and anybody my age, whenever they think about artificial intelligence, the first thing they think of is HAL in the year 2001: Space Odyssey. You know, the the eye, the red eye there that's just staring at you, and it was pretty spooky, to think artificial intelligence could take over. And then, of course, we all know about Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. That you can't think about artificial intelligence without thinking about that. But I'm not here to discuss the merits, whether good or bad, of artificial intelligence. What I'm here to discuss is 5 ways I've used it this year. Number one, I sold my record albums. I've had hundreds of record albums, and I got to where I didn't listen to them very much. I've got all my music on my phone. Anything I want to listen to, I'll just pull it up on my phone. It was nice having, but I got a small house, and they were taking up a lot of room. So, uh, what I did is I got the Chat GPT on my telephone, and I pull up the app, and then all you do is you see the little cross there, you click on that, and then your phone comes up, and you scan the label, and all those little numbers on the label that I always just ignored means something, and it would come up and it would tell you what year this album came out, because I had some old albums, and I didn't know exactly how old they were. Some were older than others, and so that just by scanning the label, it tells you all the information you need to know about that. I found that to be amazing, and so what I did is I just scanned all those hundreds of record albums, and just kind of made some notes about them. Then went on ChatGPT and said, how many used record stores are in Houston area? How can I sell these things? So I found out, there's quite a few used record shops. They're actually quite popular, frankly. And so what I did, and I said, I didn't really want to take them down there and sell them at those record shops because I knew they weren't going to give me anything for them. So what I did instead is I said, I created a little keyword. I said, I told ChatGPT, look, every time I say old record, what I want to know, what I'm saying there is I want you to give me the typical price that would sell for at one of these record shops. That way I get an idea of what they're worth. So I did that with all my albums, spent a lot of time doing that, and then I ended up selling a lot of them, and I gave away a lot of them. But it was a nice experience because I ended up seeing a lot of former students that I hadn't seen in a long time that was interested in the records. I learned that a lot of younger people were interested in a lot of those records I thought they wouldn't care about. That was pretty cool. But anyway, I ended up getting rid of all my albums with the help of ChatGPT. All right, number two, the Soundhounds. The Soundhounds is a duo with me and Roy Pena. We have a little group we play out, and that's one reason I haven't been doing a lot of YouTube videos this year because we've been spending a lot of time putting that music together, and it's really come along good. We've got a gig at a place called the MB Speakeasy in Old Town Spring. We do that once a month, so I was trying to promote that, and so. Uh, First of all, we have a logo that was done by Hannah. That's Roy's wife, and she did a real good job of it. So there was no AI involved in that. It was just purely Hannah's talent. But and we use that for our little promotion and stuff. But because I got to thinking, it would be nice to have a caricature of two sound hounds playing guitar and looking like they're from the 30s. So I went in to ChatGPT and said, look, two guys playing guitar. They're hound dogs. Give them a hat, make them look like they're from the 1930s. So I said, create that for me. So I did, and so at first it come up looking kind of goofy. I see something like this, And I said, well, okay, that's good, but I don't want them to look so goofy. I don't want them to look so happy. Make them look more cool, like some cool jazz cats. So they redid it, and he came up with this. So that's the little caricatures I came up with using ChatGPT, and I'll use that whenever I'm creating little promotion things for Facebook. Also, I told ChatGPT, I said, look, remember, whenever I'm talking about the MB Speakeasy, I want you to talk as if I'm in the 1930s. You would use all the little jargon that they used back then. So whenever we're ready to do a little gig, I'll say, okay, we're playing at the MB Speakeasy again, and include the date, the address, and just give me maybe a paragraph promoting it, and it'll come up with some spiffy little paragraph about grab a glass of giggle water, and put on your spades, and all, just talk, the jive talk basically. So I'll use it for that. Uh, so that's the second thing I've done with it. Okay, the third one. The third one might be the most important one of all to me. It's my new partner in crime. Not really crime, but my new partner creating YouTube videos and my web stuff. I've been working on my website since 2005, updating it and everything. I've been working with YouTube since I think about 2010, so that's a long time. In the beginning with my website, I had a webmaster who helped me create it, and then at that time, after it was created, I've studied and learned how to change it and build on it and everything. And since then, I've pretty much been on my own. And same thing with YouTube. And to tell you the truth, it has not been easy because I'm a guitar player and guitar teacher. I'm not really that technically inclined, so when I would have an issue, something would go wrong, it would be pretty frustrating with my website. So luckily, I had a good company that hosted my website, and they're called Turbify now, and I can call them up if I just find myself I can't fix something or anything. But with ChatGPT, I can go on there for technical help, and they never get frustrated. It never gets frustrated. If I'm calling Turbify and I got this guy on the phone and his English might not be great, and he'll try to explain when something's wrong. It's like, well, okay, let me try this and try that, and it's not working, and then I'll have to get him to explain to me. After explaining to me 3 times, it's like I'm starting to feel like, okay, I might have it. I don't want to get this guy any more frustrated than he already is. The great thing about ChatGPT is they never get frustrated. If I don't understand something, I ask it a million times. That's really nice. You could do that thing with Google, but it's better. ChatGPT, it knows what I'm trying to do and everything. It's got a history. It understands my history of what I'm working with here. So it's really good at that. Now the whole YouTube thing. Whenever I'm putting, I recently put together this video, a set of eight videos called the ACE barcode system. So whenever I first started that, I tapped in, okay, I'm gonna do this system, and I want to try to get this organized. It was great at really just saying, okay, first do this, first do that. It just organized my thoughts, helping me, instead of me just sitting there and jotting down everything and forgetting something, And as I said, I'm gonna put together this series of videos. Let's get a plan here. So it gives me a list of things I need to do, gives me suggestions. So really, it's the partner that I never had and always needed. Honestly, sometimes it feels human, but because it's funny because it'll kind of take on a life of trying to encourage you. Yeah, what you're doing, there's a need for it and all this, and it's kind of like having Norman Vincent Peale as your partner or something. Sometimes I'll say to it, you don't have to be so so encouraging. I can do this without AI. Well, I say that, but then I'm using it, But so that's been really a game changer for me. It's going to help my videos get a lot better because I'm not missing any of the details. Simple things like things that I've wondered about for years, like am I the way I create images, is this the best way to do it? Are there other ways to do it? And it'll come back and say, yeah, there are other ways to do it, but for your needs, this is fine, and so forth. So it's really been great. So that's the third thing. Now, it's not perfect, okay? For example, after I got the videos going, I said, okay, I want to create some thumbnails. So a thumbnail is that picture you see when you pull up a video. Okay, they call those thumbnails. So I said, okay, I want to use this nice picture I've got of myself as the main theme for the thumbnail, but I'm going to put things around it. So first time I did that, it was real late at night, and I got it to build one, and I looked at it. That's great, you know. I thought, I was really excited. I said, man, this thing's going to build the thumbnails for me, so I don't have to do them manually myself. So anyway, I went to bed, and it was late at night. The next morning I woke up, and I got to looking at it, and I said, wait a minute, it was a picture of me and my guitar, but I'm thinking, that's not really me. Then I got looking at the guitar, and I'm thinking, well, that's not really my guitar. You know, if you look at it closely, you'll see the pickups are not little Filtertron, or not Gretsch Filtertron, and the wood is not really the same wood. You know, kind of reminds me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Whenever in the opening scene, the little boy, his mom took him to the doctor because he's saying, Grandpa is not Grandpa. You know, he recognized that it looked like Grandpa, but it wasn't Grandpa. So I kind of felt that way about my guitar. So wait a minute, that's not my guitar. So I ended up going back and doing all my thumbnails manually. We took a picture and then took images and text, did it all myself. And it's not perfect. And also like I told it, I said, give me the cycle of this. The cycle of this is a wheel, looks like a clock that's used in music. And it gave me a cycle, but it was incorrect. It didn't have the right notes on it. And I thought, that's something pretty simple, isn't it? And try again. So I tried again, and it was wrong again. So I did that several times, but eventually it did it right. But I ended up finding it somewhere else. I said, well, I'm not going to afford that. But I'm saying that to say this, is that if you're going to use it for something that you're supposed to be an authoritative expert in, you need to make sure you know what you're talking about, because you can't take for granted that what you're getting from ChatGPT or Grok, or whatever you use, is correct. You have to be able to know whether it's correct. Okay, number 4, follow up reading books. I recently read Crime and Punishment. I'm not the philosophical type, but I feel kind of like I'm obligated to read a classic occasionally, so I won't come across as a total dunce. But what I did is after I read that book, I asked ChatGPT. I said, okay, I'm wondering how much of this soaked in. Can you give me a quiz, maybe on the first year of college level? So sure enough, here it comes back. Gave me a quiz, and I had to answer the question to see if I actually followed anything. Then afterward, I said, well, yeah, you know, give me an essay, you know, or maybe somebody summarized the book. See, and so it gives me an essay and talks about all the characters, and you know, it had a lot more insight than what I picked up, you know. So it's a good way to kind of review what you've read, and you'll pick up on things that you didn't notice. You know, the essays get really deeply into the psychology of each character in the book, so it's really good for that. So that's number 4. Okay, number 5 might be the most practical of all 5 of them. Last month I lost my billfold. Okay, with all my driver's license, my credit card, $100 in cash, and you know, all that stuff. So I was pretty devastated, to tell you the truth. So you know, I had to get my driver's license. So I did a little research. So okay, I need to go to the Texas Department of Public Safety building. Well, you can't just show up there. You have to get an appointment. And to get an appointment, you have to have your driver's license number. There's 2 numbers, actually. So I didn't have the numbers. You know, I had lost my driver's license. So what am I going to do? I went through iCloud looking. I thought, I know I've taken pictures of my driver's license at some time in the past few years. I went in iCloud looking through all my pictures, could not find anything, So, and my wife, she was in Puerto Rico at the time. So I texted her. I said, "Do you happen to have a picture of my driver's license?" So uh, she texted back, and she told and she texted back. She had a picture of it. I said, "Well, how did you find that?" She said, "Well, I went on ChatGPT and I said, and I scanned a picture of me, and then she put it in there, and she says, okay, I want every time you see this picture of this man, I want you to show me all the pictures you have of him." So she took a picture of my driver's license 3 years ago, and sure enough, it came up, and I got the numbers. And once I got those numbers, everything went very very smoothly. I got some new driver's license. So that was something on a real practical issue. And I would just say, be sure to take a picture of your driver's license. So that's 5 ways I've used ChatGPT this year. Uh, I know it's a controversial subject, and I've seen videos of Rick Beato. I don't know if you know who he is. He's one of the best music educators, and he talks about they're already making music with with artificial intelligence. So I'm sure you're going to have a lot of that, and it's going to be like anything. You can use it for good things. You can use it for bad things. Hopefully, we'll find ways to use it for good things, and we don't know what the future holds as far as what's going to become of this. What we do know is life 20 years from now is going to be nothing like it is now. So uh, that's my experience with artificial intelligence. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back.